That's weird. That's weird. Kind of weirding me out.
You are a sad, strange little man.
Crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy. Isn't that weird?
That's weird, man.
It's strange.
What's up, campers? Welcome back to episode 186 of Camp Strange. I am your camp counselor, Alex Tobin.
And I'm your other camp counselor, Big Stewie.
I love Big Stewie at the fair.
We all love Big Stewie at the fair.
When you get the Big Stewie Griffin, the Big Stevie. Inside jokes that just literally don't make sense.
No, I think we've made this joke before. Everybody's in on it now.
Probably. I want the Big Stevie.
Big Stevie. I feel like we've talked about Big Stevie a lot.
Yeah. And if you guys see a Big Stevie, snap a pic, send it to us.
Yeah.
Anyway, and we're back to bring you the spooky, wacky, weird, strange, and Thanksgiving. But before we tell you about these stories today, we got to catch you up on any of the weird news you may have missed in these past couple weeks. And David, I got a really, really good one for you. As Somerset Gimp banned from wearing a gimp suit in public and crawling, wriggling, or writhing on the ground for 5 years.
I saw the video.
Wait, what? There's a video?
There's a video of this.
I got a picture right here. Is he wearing the red X's out of his like the purge mask?
No.
Oh, okay, never mind. Bless you.
There it is. No, there's a video. It was like, because this is in England, correct?
Yeah, Somerset.
Yeah, there's like two British boys hanging outside, like smoking a cigarette or something. And then this man, who I actually don't think he was in a gimp suit in the video. I think he was covered in mud head to toe. And he was crawling around on the ground towards them. And they were like laughing and like, what the fuck is this? And like gave him a cigarette.
Oh.
And then that video went viral, I think. And then people were like, "Oh yeah, that's that one fucking weird guy."
That one weird guy. His name is Joshua Hunt. He's 32, and he was issued with a sexual risk order after police linked him to 25 incidents across the county.
There you go.
So he's a self-employed gardener, but he's also banned from wearing any type of mask or face covering in public unless for medical reasons. He's not allowed to wear his gimp suit. He's not even allowed to wear like all black from head to toe. Like he can't wear like black sweatpants and a black shirt. No mask, of course. But some of the incidents. So he's convicted of 2 offenses under the Public Order Act of intentionally causing harassment, alarm, or distress. It says, last week's hearing heard how a man in all black gimp suit, for those of you who don't know what a gimp suit is, it is a leather suit, probably mostly used for sexual stuff.
Yeah.
But he had terrified 2 female motorists, and I guess he's making it a recurring event where he jumps out in traffic.
Okay.
Stepping out in front of cars in remote locations across Somerset. And my favorite is the court previously heard that witnesses to an incident in October last year said they saw a man wearing a gimp suit who grabbed his penis over the top of his clothing and also gyrated against the floor. Not
this guy's
funny.
Gotta be a listener.
This
guy's got to be a listener. I hope they got podcasts in prison, Joshua.
No. Okay, wait. So he's not going to prison, but he's basically on the sexual, what is it called? Sexual predator list?
Predator list, yeah.
Yeah, he's like on that for 5 years. They're monitoring his internet access and, yeah, like look at this fucking mask situation that they like found.
Oh,
it's like
is that white paint or is that?
I think it's white paint. It's white. So
okay.
They're like Zodiac killer black hoods.
Yes.
With like the eyes cut out, and then it kind
of reminded me of like the new Riddler from the new Batman.
Yeah, a little bit. He has but he drew a smiley face and like eyes around on the black mask with paint, and this guy is just a menace. You know, he's just like I'm all for you doing your thing, but if other people aren't into it, you got to stop it, man. You can't be gyrating on the floor. But it's just so funny because, I mean, you never know what kinky shit people are into. And I guess he's not, like, touching anybody, but still, you can't be jumping out in front of cars and grabbing your dong and gyrating against the floor in public. Like, what?
Listen, we're not trying to kink shame anybody, but when you're jumping in front of automobiles, possibly causing a crash, like, okay.
You can't be doing that.
No.
You could stand in the middle. I know in the UK they got a lot of roundabouts. Maybe he could stand in the roundabout.
Yeah.
You know? Feels like a...
And just spin in circles.
Yeah, you feel
like
dancing queen. You feel like a star. When you're in the center of the roundabout, everyone's looking at you.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
People don't get out. They just keep going around and around.
They want to watch the show a little bit more. Get to see all the angles of the nice gimp suit you made. So... Just a word of don't do it until your 5 years is up. But man, this guy, 25 incidents.
I can't wait to see him in the news again in 5 years.
Oh, it's gonna be a month.
Think about all that cooking he's doing in his mind.
It's gonna be a month. There's no way he could. You could take the man out of the gyrate, but you can't take the gyrate out of the man.
Damn straight.
So I don't know. But yeah, that's that guy.
Alrighty.
That's our number one fan.
Well, this is our number 2 fan. Tennessee man arrested for DUI on meth while driving lawnmower, in quotes, Santa's train full of kids.
There's a lot going on in there.
Yeah, so when they do like little holiday
parades. This is like the third lawnmower story you've brought up, too. I think you bring up a lawnmower story every news.
That's my fetish. So how they do like the little holiday parades and they'll like make the little train with the kids being pulled.
Yeah, don't they usually use like a tiny little green tractor, and then they got like a open bed that like all the kids like got some hay in there and pumpkins.
Yeah. So if the photo they used in this is the one from the incident, then this one looks much more like a train. I believe it's a lawnmower that they built like a wooden frame around to look like a conductor train or whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pulling a bunch of little trains with little kids in the back. And he got a DUI while pulling all the kids because he was high on meth.
Oh, I guess that is an influence, isn't it? How do they test for meth?
Oh, you don't have to. You just know.
You can smell it on them. It's kind of interesting. You
What's
know how
that?
you shovel rocks and coal into a train to make it move?
Yeah.
He was kind of the train.
Yeah, he was shoveling rocks into his lungs.
Let's just say this. He was the fastest lawnmower in the parade. And to the people sitting on the curb watching the parade, they all need extensive surgery.
He was just foaming at the mouth.
He just running over feet and being completely oblivious, just chopping up.
It says here halfway through he ate his own lips.
I know you're lying. But that is funny. Halfway through. Is that what set everybody off? Hey,
yeah, he got halfway through. He was golden until he ate his lips.
Yeah, everybody didn't suspect a thing until all of a sudden they looked over and he was just skeletal teeth.
just teething it up.
They're like, he's such a smiley gentleman. They're like, oh, wait, that ain't a smile.
He's actually trying to frown.
What is? Oh, this is in Tennessee, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I kind of think parades are boring, so if somebody's on meth driving a car through a parade, at least it's somewhat interesting.
Hey, bud, listen up. Parades aren't for you.
They're for meth heads.
They're for small children and old people.
I guess you're right. No, but yes.
And families of the people in the parade.
And high school bands.
Yeah.
Because
dance teams.
Do you like? I think did I? Yeah, I think I marched one time in a parade with the high school band, and I think I faked half the notes because I didn't ever know my music or read my music.
What did you play?
I played trumpet. I was just like, and then like parts I didn't know.
Toby Armstrong over here.
I see. Fucking. I see meth head lips. Neck Rocks 2. Pretty good.
Yeah, that's good.
That's cool though. Good for them. That's
Yeah,
probably the
great for
most. I think they're gonna have a huge turnout next year because of all the activity. They're hoping for a resurgence of the crack derby.
Yeah, he said he was planning on flying a plane next year.
He's like, I'm gonna land it, and like you're gonna land it on Main Street, and like everybody just getting hit with the wings.
The one lane Main Street.
Yeah, just clipping everybody watching the parade with his wings. It's cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting crushed to death, man crushed to death by a robot in South Korea.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so you watched this?
Oh yeah, he got scooped.
No, but there's no video, right? I didn't see a video. But
I'm sure there is a video. I didn't see a video. I just heard about it.
So it says a man has been crushed to death by a robot in South Korea after it failed to differentiate him from the boxes of food it was handling. So this was like one of those robots that has like a grab. Okay, you ever watch a car commercial and they're showing like how they put together a car and they always have that fucking robot arm like with the door and like puts the door. So I think it was like one of those.
Buddy, if there's one thing I know, it's factories. All right,
and car commercials. But the robotic arm, confusing the man for a box of vegetables. This is not funny. Grabbed him and pushed his body against the conveyor belt, crushing his face and chest. South Korean agency says. He later died at the hospital. See, this is...
I thought he would have died immediately.
Okay, I know AI is pretty cool, but you have to understand, these robots have the strongest grips, okay? So
Gorilla grip.
Yeah. You're lucky that this man I was gonna say this man's lucky he died working at a vegetable box factory and not at a sex company, because once that robot learns how to grip, there's gonna be worse. There are fates worse than death. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
That's why you never put the machine up to 10.
No, never, unless you're banned from the streets for 5 years.
Oh God.
He's got to pivot. Okay, you adapt or you die. Okay.
Yeah.
And
speaking of losing a dick, I watched Strays last night.
Oh, that's out?
I rented it. Yeah.
Oh.
The dog movie.
Yeah, where like the whole premise is that he wants to get back to his.
Yeah.
It looks terrible. You saw it. You watched it.
It was not good, but it was fun. Like I wasn't miserable the whole time. Like when I saw the trailers, I was like, "That's gonna be the worst goddamn movie ever." But just the fact that Jamie Foxx's character looks just like my dog.
I was gonna say you just liked it because there's a Boston Terrier as one of the main characters. Yeah,
that's why we watched it. But
the premise is he wants to go bite off Will Forte's dick, his like mean previous owner. Correct?
Yeah,
that's the hero's journey.
Yes. But yeah, as long as you look yourself in the mirror and you say, "I'm gonna go watch a movie with talking dogs that hump a lot of things." There's a lot of humping in it. As long as you're honest to yourself, you know what you're gonna be watching. It wasn't that bad.
I like Homeward Bound.
Yeah, not enough humping.
But I don't remember how the mouths look. Oh, they don't. It's inner monologue, right? They have like telepathic dogs and cats.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the dogs talking this took them. It was hard to really get over that part.
It's hard to believe because I know dogs don't talk.
I know.
Here's the thing. I can't get. I know Narnia is real, but the dog don't talk.
The dog don't talk. Speaking of movies, weren't you talking up that movie on the last podcast? The Killer?
Okay. I have to say one thing. Yes, The Killer. I watched almost all of it, and the last 20 minutes I had to leave to go to our buddy Sam's sketch show. So I had to leave, and I haven't been able to watch the last 20 minutes. But Megan watched it, and she said she liked the ending. But I saw almost all of it, and I really enjoyed it.
Okay, I'm just going to do my one bit real quick.
Okay.
The Killer, more like the guy who sits in a car the whole fucking movie. That's my only input.
That's fair. That's fair.
I really want to go back and edit the movie and cut out all the scenes where he's in a car, just to see how long the movie is if you get rid of all the scenes where he's in a car.
I kind of liked the downtime, as I told Megan. Okay, this is a movie by David Fincher. It's called The Killer. It's on Netflix. Watch it if you want. But David Fincher, he wrote, he directed Fight Club, Social Network, Benjamin Button, a ton of movies. Yeah. But I really liked the downtime because everything felt very tactile. Like him, like putting the muzzle on the gun. It felt like ASMR a little bit. You know what I mean? And I know it wasn't, but I just feel like it's like him checking his watch. I like the synchronicity of everything, and like no spoilers or anything, but like I really liked it. And also there's a fight scene in the movie that I thought was really cool. I thought it was one of the most believable and like just kind of cool fight scenes. It was kind of sloppy, but it was like I liked it a lot. Yeah. Okay, that's my review.
I'm not saying I disliked it. I'm just saying that dude likes to hang out in cars.
It's true, he does.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I like that. I liked your bit. The Killer, more like the driver.
He wasn't even driving it most of the time. He's just chilling in a car.
The Killer, more like the loiterer.
Yeah, he was kind of loitering almost the entire movie.
Yeah, but I feel like when you have murder right after the loitering kind of falls to the wayside.
Yeah, you tend to forget about the loitering.
Cops are like, he murdered everybody, and one cop's like, don't forget the loitering. He's like,
yeah, we gotta book this guy up.
That's right.
With everything. He also littered a lot. That was Riley's input. She also pointed out he sat in the car too much, but she also said assassins litter too much.
Do they? What, bodies?
Oh, they like, without spoilers, in the opening scene.
Oh, when he tosses the helmet in the river.
He's just throwing shit everywhere.
What the fuck?
Shit everywhere.
No. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, he's disposing of certain things and like grates, and he's covering his tracks and like breaking phones and kicking them in the curb.
Oh yeah, that guy broke like 17 phones in that movie.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's true. But if you shoot another litterer,
yeah.
It
is interesting. He picked up his shell casings, but then threw everything else in bushes.
True.
Just saying.
I want to put David on an assassin mission and see how he does it. He's like taking everything with him.
He's
get
a big
caught
bag just because I'm properly disposing of my weapons.
When David gets caught, he's gonna have pockets full of shell casings and bloody gloves in his backpack, and be like, "Oh, I just saw these on the street, and I hate litter. I just picked them up."
I'm gonna get off scot-free because I didn't litter.
It's true. It's true. Anyway, I don't really have I did have another news story, but I don't really want to read it. It's called "It's True. People Do Poop a Lot in Ride Lines at Disneyland and Disney World."
Oh.
And it's basically just about how apparently the workers at Disneyland keep finding like 8-year-olds shit in like all the corners of the line because parents are just letting their kids like shit wherever. And I understand.
I'll say it. The problem isn't the kid shitting.
It's the long lines.
Yeah, they're letting too many people in a day. They need to cut it off early.
Yeah, I mean, that was a huge issue with Halloween Horror Nights here at Universal Studios Hollywood. Apparently, everybody was like complaining. I didn't go this year because everybody was just like, don't go. The lines are so long. You're like ass to ankles when you're walking through the maze. And when there's somebody in front of you walking through like this fucking maze and they get scared, you're like, okay, there goes the scare. I know that person's right there around the corner. Like, this sucks. The lines were like 2 hours long. And I'm like, don't get me started on corporate greed. I'm going to feel like the killer. I'm going to be like, the world is such a fucked up place.
Just make a rule that, no walk-ins, no day of going and getting a ticket. You just got to get them in advance, plan ahead. Limit the people there.
No, they want money. As long as it's not like against the fire code, they're just going to pile people in to wherever they can to make the most money, which I understand. But, We vote with our dollars, people. If you stop going, they'll be like, okay, we're going to fix it. But I don't think that's going to happen. So, whatever. Just keep pooping in line. See what I care. I don't care.
Put porta potties in there. I don't know.
Make a hole in the ride line.
Yeah.
You like Indiana Jones, like when you put your hand in that hole and it's like in the line. You ever been to the Disneyland where you put your hand in and you think, and there's nothing actually, and there's sometimes it's like a burst of air. I just shit in those holes.
Yeah. I've put my hands in many holes. I got another news story here.
Okay, 5 years off the street.
Wait, I gotta scroll up and get that headline. Plane forced to return to JFK Airport after horse on board gets loose.
I saw that. I didn't read it, but I didn't know you could transport horses on like commercial airlines.
So it's a cargo plane.
Oh, okay.
And it was going to Belgium from New York.
Oh shit!
And apparently, those cargo planes have horse stalls.
Really? They have horse stalls, or they like have a horse stall that's like metal that they just load onto it?
They probably just have one they load onto it.
Yeah.
But it got out. Not much else, but
How hard is it to put a horse back in a horse stall?
Oh, if they're real riled up, it's hard.
At that point, just open up like the back gate thing, because like I've always just wanted to know what it looked like to see a horse falling out of the sky.
They are only 31,000 feet in the air. Like, he could have survived.
That's
All
true.
water.
Horses are a lot like cats. People don't know that, but like everybody
knows on their hooves.
Yeah, and they like. Isn't it weird how like strong horses' legs are at the top and how fragile they are? Everything from like the knee down.
Oh yeah.
Like they're always just like horse legs broken. Like shoot it in the head, and you're like, a lot of horse legs breaking these days.
Yeah, the best medicine for a horse's broken leg is a 45 caliber bullet.
I'm gonna say 45,000 drop from an airplane.
That too.
I mean, do you think the horse would know what was like it was gonna die?
You're asking, do you think the horse would know if it was dropping 31,000 feet in the air?
Yeah.
Like if it was gonna die?
Yes.
It would probably think this is not good.
But do you think it's like this is not good because it's upside down? Because when I'm upside down, I also think this is not good. But if you drop me into a black void and I couldn't see the bottom, might be water, might be pillows. And if I was upside down, I'd be like, this is not good. I don't know if I'm going to die in that black void. I don't even know what I'm arguing anymore, technically, but
yeah, you lost me.
Yeah, I'm lost too. Should we just get into these?
I think I would rather be dropped from a distance that I could see. I could see like, oh, okay, I'm gonna die there. I think I'd rather have that than a black void.
You just gotta flex your fucking body. Oh wait, no, you're supposed to not flex your body, right?
Let all the air out of your lungs and land flat.
Yeah. You're supposed to. They say if you do like head first, that you'll go like you might go directly to China and shoot out the other side.
Yes.
So do that. But no, honestly, I can't think of a worse death.
Really?
No, I can. I could think of a lot of them. Probably like slowly getting
crushed.
I was gonna say it's probably like eaten by insects alive. That's pretty bad.
Starving. I think starving would be pretty fucking awful.
I'd rather starve to death than like, cause I don't like anything that's like body mutilation. That like free, like you ever like,
oh, chop me up.
No, like if I lost a hand, like looking at my hand is more upsetting than it actually like, cause I'm in shock and it's in pain. But I'd be like, I'm okay with starving because if you're starving, I go. Maybe I can like come back from this and just like all I gotta do is eat. Once like somebody chops off my arm, I'm like, just fucking kill me. There's no point anymore. When I see
if I can't go down to the YMCA and play some hoops, I might as well be fucking dead.
Not just say no. Everybody who's got one arm, it's fine. It's just me. Yeah. This is like when I saw like Oberyn get his teeth knocked out in like Game of Thrones. I was like, just kill him because I don't want to walk around with no teeth in my mouth. I need some teeth. Please, I need some teeth.
Just one big tooth.
If you took my eyeball, I'm like, no, just shoot me, please.
Yeah.
I like my eyeballs.
Me too.
Okay.
Would you rather be blind or deaf?
Deaf.
I think so too.
Oh my God, I'd be so freaked out if I was blind.
I used to be like fluent in ASL, sign language.
But you're blind. You couldn't. What? Oh, you're talking about the deaf part?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would miss music, and we probably would have a hard time making this podcast if we were both deaf.
I'd probably put my penis against a bass speaker.
Yeah.
That's how I listen to music now.
Yeah.
I gyrate on the speaker.
The original dongle.
Bose.
Boser.
This
I got a Boser.
This podcast is brought to you by Bose. Buy the penis attachment today. Buy the dongle today. That's the dongle.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, should we tell these stories?
Yeah, we should probably start doing
All right. Okay, now David,
Yeah.
I got a fucked up story for you today,
Good.
but I had to talk about it because it's culture. It was a part of my culture growing up, and I think it was a part of maybe your culture. At least, like, it was in the realm of horrific viral videos where the internet was like very much less monitored for children.
Are you talking about famous stars and straps apparel?
That is exactly what I'm talking about. It's not gonna be funny. No, it was just a time where horrific videos like Mr. Hands and
the penis paint Olympics or whatever.
BME Pain Olympics, sure.
Yeah.
That's one of them.
The jar.
The Jar, Lemon
Jar's
Party,
classic.
Tub Girl, Blue Waffle, just like all
Meat
of
Spin.
these Meat Spin. There's just like, but there was one.
Don't Google any of these.
Meatspin.com, BlueWaffle.com. No, I don't even know if any of these exist anymore. But they were a part of a certain early 30s, late 20s subset now. Maybe even mid 30s. But people knew about these because it was a little bit of a dare. Like, hey, type this in, go check it out, and you would instantly regret it. But there was one above the rest that really that kind of changed the game in a way where it wasn't fun to do these gotcha video things anymore. And no, I'm not talking about Two Girls, One Cup, which is maybe the start of all of this. But I'm talking about a video by the name of Three Guys, One Hammer. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, I vaguely remember that.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about the crimes of the Dnepropetrovsk Maniacs. This is a city in Ukraine. So
I was thinking Russia.
Yeah, I thought it was Russian too, but I mean, it makes sense. They're neighbors, and as we all know, they're not friendly neighbors. So
No.
I'm not gonna get political up in this bitch because this is 2007. So let's talk about the I'm just gonna fuck this up, so I'm just gonna call them the Dnepropetrovsk if it pops up again.
That works.
It's a silent D in the beginning. Remember, I just brought up the silent D last episode.
Wow.
It's Dnepropetrovsk Maniacs, but you don't pronounce the D. I had to type that in to check it out. So the Dnepro Maniacs. So during June and July of 2007, 19-year-olds Viktor Sayenko and Igor Suprunyuk took to the streets of the Ukrainian town of Dnipro. Oh, I guess they call it Dnipro too. Dnipro and its surrounding areas to commit horrific acts of violence and murder. See, both Victor and Igor were outcast teens who were reclusive and afraid of being picked on and beaten up. Another trait they shared in common, though, was their fear of heights. Are you afraid of heights, David?
I am like a 50-50. Like, I don't mind heights, but when it comes to like, oh, we're all gonna go jump off this like 30-foot cliff into a lake, I'm out. Like, I'm not. I don't like jumping off of things. I can go like look over an edge and it doesn't really bother me too much. But when it comes to being like, oh, we're gonna go jump off this thing, I'm like, nah, I'm out.
I feel like that's when it starts getting into fear of death and not just fear of heights. Because fear of heights.
No,
just
let me be
means-
clear. I don't fear death.
Death fears me.
Yeah, I
How-
have that on a shirt.
How can I be afraid of death when I'm gyrating on the sidewalk?
Yeah.
I've looked death in the eyes and I've laughed. But yeah, so yeah, I'm not very much afraid of heights. Like I could also look over like, Chrysler building and be like, whatever, I don't care. But I jumped off a cliff that was way too high one time, and as I ran at the cliff to jump off, my knees buckled.
You hesied?
Yep. But I didn't.
And then you rolled down the hill?
No, it was a straight drop down. It was probably a 50-foot drop. I'm not even fucking kidding. It was so high. I was at Lake Havasu, and my legs caved out, and all I remember was heading towards the water, and I was like too close to the wall, and I could see that there was like some rocks that were like below me, but I was lucky enough.
Lizard looking at you, giving you a thumbs up.
Yeah, and he's like, "Hey, look, a horse!" And then I hit no. So and then but luckily I kept going a little bit further away from the wall, and I hit the water, and I was like, I don't think I'm ever gonna jump off anything that high ever again.
Yeah.
Nope, it wasn't for me.
I enjoy like a good 10-foot jump. I have fun
Of
doing
course.
that. But yeah, no, it's too much.
Everything, but like even on a 10-foot jump, I jumped off of like a kind of tall rock in Tahoe, and like my body was just like, we shouldn't be doing
On
this.
your balls smack. Can't breathe.
on the person in the water below that you didn't see.
Yeah.
You smack them
Absolutely.
right on their head. But like I said, so these guys had a fear of heights. So in order to conquer this fear, they didn't jump off any, rocks into water. No, they decided to face it head on by dangling themselves over the railings of their apartment building several stories above the ground. It seems like that's like a kind of a national pastime of Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
Have you seen that shit where like
Yeah. They're like, they go up like cranes.
yeah.
They hang off like a 300-foot drop of a crane.
Well, they are Ukrainians.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah. They're like, that's where they came. Ukrainian. He's like, you. It's like a double entendre. He's like, you crazy, and you on a crane, and it's also
You crazian.
I love that.
Yeah.
Love that. So yeah, they just dangle off the ground. So as this approach worked so well for them, because apparently that helped with their fear of heights, they decided to apply the same methodology to their friend and third friend, Alexander Hansa, who, in order to combat his fear of blood, they decided that they were to torture and kill stray cats and dogs, and to film it as well.
Yeah. Why not?
So, as most of us know, that is the early signs of a serial killer: harming small animals, wetting the bed, burning shit with fire. It's called the McDonald Triad, and yeah, it's not great. But killing small animals is, I think, the worst one out of all of them. And they decided to do it as a thing to help their friend. They're like, oh, you should kill cats and dogs because you're afraid of blood, not just like look at blood. Here, prick your finger. It's like, no, they would I don't want to go into details of what they did, but it's just horrible. So they discovered that filming their crimes was just another way to revel and immortalize their work as well, because from here on out, they would film everything. They had a camera. But to be fair, I mean, they were 19. But to be fair, like at that time, I was like filming. I like had the camera glued to my hand as well. So like anything I was doing, I was like, oh, I'm just going to film it. Like, so they left they're not litterers, I'll tell you that much. They were filming and taking everything with them, so the evidence was stacked against them when they got caught. So after the three boys graduated high school, they began to work odd jobs, one being Igor, one of the boys, using
That's rough.
Yeah, maybe it's like when they see like a guy named like Keith over here.
I don't know. Would you rather be born
Wendell?
Wendell's good. Would you rather be born and given the name Igor or Adolf?
Igor. I already got the hump on my back.
Tony, you got to drain that thing, man.
My mom almost named me Giovanni.
I was almost named Kermit.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's my grandpa's name.
Well, it's a good name.
I would have. I would have. I think I would have thrived
Was
with
he
the name Kermit.
was he born before the frog?
Yeah.
That's fucked. That frog
I think.
ruined that name.
When was the frog born? Who birthed the frog?
Jim Henson.
He pushed it out, huh?
He pushed it out of his lily pads. He pushed a little nice tadpole. He squeezed the tadpole out.
He was introduced in '55, so yeah, he was definitely older than Kermit the Frog.
I knew there was a kid from my high school named Austin Bowers. Fucked up.
I knew a Jeff Gordon when I was growing up,
I knew a Chris Brown growing up.
and my buddy's dad's name is Michael Jackson. Goes by Mike.
Did you hang out with him a lot as a child?
Yeah,
Michael's coming home.
Mike's the man. Love that guy.
Michael Jackson. Mike Jackson. That
He was
is-
definitely one of, like, you know how there's always like the groups of friends. There's like the elite dads. They're like, oh yeah, this dad's cool.
Yeah.
He was one of the cool.
He
dads,
was
for
not.
sure.
I'm joking. Like, he was absent.
No, loved Mike.
That's
Still
good.
do. Ran into him somewhat recently. Good guy.
Moonwalked right past you.
Yeah, shout out Mike.
Mike. Big Mike. Anyway, so after they graduated high school, they began working odd jobs, one being Igor using his car as an unlicensed taxi. The boys quickly figured out how easy it was to rob patrons after picking them up. So they would rob a shit ton of people, and the Alexander guy, who was like their third friend, he would help rob as well and be like, oh, cool, haha, we're just like taking people's shit. But shortly after that, Alexander began to drift away from the friend group, leaving Igor and Victor to be left to their own devices that weren't satisfied with just robbery or animal killing, but they wanted the real thing. And in the
Did
next
you say animal?
animal. Did you say animal? Fuck you, dude. That's my favorite Muppet.
Animal?
Animal. And
Yeah.
maybe Fozzie the Bear too. But animals.
Frozzy?
Frozzie the Bear, yep. Kawaka. So, but yeah, so they wanted the real thing now. And in the next 3 weeks, they would go on to murder 21 men, women, and children.
Wait, that kind of took a jump there.
It escalated. Oh, I wanted to preface what we're about to go through right now. I told you this wasn't funny. Wasn't funny.
No, it's not.
So as I mentioned, at the beginning, at the top of this, it's called Three Guys, One Hammer. But I think because at this point, sorry, I'm boring myself. At this point, Alexander had left. Oh, the victim was the third guy. Yeah. Anyway,
What are you saying?
the video that I was talking about earlier that they filmed, it was called Three Guys, One Hammer. And I was like, no,
Yes.
that doesn't make sense because there weren't three friends anymore. One of them left, so there's two friends and a guy. And I was like, oh, I didn't count the victim as one of the guys in the Three Guys, One Hammer. There's Victor and Igor, and then the third guy. I think his name's Sergey. But anyway, let's get into it. So on the evening of the 25th of June, 2007, 33-year-old Yekaterina Inchenko was walking home from a friend's house when she was attacked. As the two boys out for a walk that night passed by the woman, I don't know if they had planned. The way this seems, it seems really weird to me because I don't know how much they planned on murdering people. Or
Just spontaneous murder.
It kind of, the vibe it gives me the vibe of like looking over at your friend and like giving him a little smile before like doing something stupid, like yelling in a movie theater or something, you know what I mean? Or like, or stealing something from pocketing something from a store. It's like, watch this, So
Yeah.
they were out for a walk at night and they passed by a woman, and Igor, with his hammer in hand, spun around and hit her right when they passed her. He spun around and hit her in the side of the head with the hammer. Katerina's body was found the next morning at 5 a.m. Her face had been destroyed, apparently. Oof. Just an hour after this first murder, Roman Tatarevic was attacked as he slept on a bench. He was also bludgeoned so many times that his face was unrecognizable. So their MO is basically they have a hammer and they attack people at night from either behind or while they're sleeping, which is just like so cowardly, so shitty, so horrible.
Oh, yeah.
Murder itself is pretty bad, but like, I mean, just like attacking helpless, unaware people. I mean, that's how most murderers do it, I guess. They're not like, hey, let's start a fair fight.
Yeah, it has the most success rate.
Sometimes I walk up and I have a hammer and I throw them a hammer and I go, let's dance.
That's an honorable murder.
Claim self-defense at that point. I go pick it up and they go, no. And I go, fuck.
All right, get out of here. Go.
So 7 days later, Yevgenia Grishenko and Nikolai Sershuk were both murdered. And 5 nights after that, another Igor, now with an E instead of an I, Nechvolada, Yelena Shram, and Valentina Hansa were also murdered. So at this point, it is seven murders. 7 murders in the span of a week.
All right, new game. Would you rather be named Igor with an I or Igor with an E?
E, I think.
Yeah, because then people can call you Egg.
Egor. It's
Egor.
Egor.
Move to Italy. It's Ergo.
Maybe it's Igor. Maybe one of them's Igor and one of them's Igor. Never thought about
one
that.
One of them's I love gore because these guys are killing people with
Whoa.
fucking hammers. Boom. Mic drop.
Boom. Hammer drop. Not funny. Not okay. Not okay. So fuck these guys. Go on the record saying that. So the gap between killings slowly closed as 2 days later, on July 7th, 2 teenage boys were attacked as they were fishing. Andrei Sidyuk was killed, but the other boy, Vadim Lechov, managed to escape. Vladimir, the kid that escaped. Oh, yeah. No, sorry, it's not Vadim, it's Vladimir, sorry. Vladimir was the one that escaped, and Vladimir was initially arrested for the murder of his friend, like, shortly after, but the cops soon realized that the killing was too similar to what was obviously becoming a crime spree, so he was released. I'm guessing what happened is Vladimir probably went home, like, ran home scared, maybe didn't tell his parents, and the police found his friend's body and was like, asked the parents who was he with, and then he's like, oh, he was with his friend, and they're like, we're gonna go arrest him because he ran home. But maybe he did tell the cops, but I doubt he did if he was like a prime suspect, you know what I mean? But they're like, he was beaten in the face with a hammer, and I don't think this 13-year-old just like, how old was he? It doesn't say, just his young teenage boys. But they're like, I don't think this teenage boy decided to kill 8 people in a week, and also like his friend who he was hanging out with that day on record. So that wouldn't make sense. So they knew that they had a serial killer or multiple serial killers on their hands. So 5 days later, on July 12th, 48-year-old Sergei Yatsenko was reported missing while riding his motorbike. His decomposed body was found 4 days later in the woods, and he was brutally attacked once again, And this murder would go on to become their most notorious, as they decided to film this murder like most of the others, and it eventually leaked onto the internet under the name 3 Guys, 1 Hammer. So this video, I'll just mention it now, but it leaked by accident. They didn't post it. They had these tapes, but I don't know.
That's such a process to take it off of a tape, put it onto a computer, and then put it onto the internet.
Well, was it? Well, I don't know if it was technically a tape. It could have been digital. I don't know. 2007.
What year was this?
2007. So yeah, they probably had like a SIM card. But here's the thing. Here's probably why it leaked. Because they used it in the courtroom as like evidence to like show the jury like what these people did.
The brutality.
Exactly. And so they already digitized it. So it was already, the court had it or something like that. But somebody took it and put it on the internet. And it was like a huge scandal. Like the Ukrainian authorities were like the law. But like everybody who was involved in the case was like freaking out, trying to scrub it from the internet. And they're like, oh no, it's like already viral and blah, blah, blah. But it was a complete accident and they don't know who leaked it. These guys did not post it online.
So my question is, because God, it's probably been since 2007 that I saw it. Do they speak Ukrainian in it?
I believe so. I believe they're
okay. Because I was wondering how they knew it was in Ukraine.
So to keep you guys from watching the video, somebody did break it down and say like what if there's anything too grotesque, I'll just skip it. But I'll read to you what the video shows, just so you know. So a video was leaked onto the internet showing the murder of 48-year-old Sergei Yasenko. He is seen lying on his back in a wooded area and is struck repeatedly in the face with a hammer held inside a plastic bag. One attacker stabbed Yasenko in the eye and abdomen with a screwdriver. Yasenko is then struck with the hammer to ensure he is dead. The attack lasts over 4 minutes, during which the victim lapses in and out of consciousness. One murderer is seen smiling towards the camera during the video. The murderers walk back to their car, showing that the crime took place close to the side of the road. Next to their parked car, they discuss the murder calmly, expressing mild surprise that the victim was still breathing after a screwdriver was plunged into his exposed brain. The suspect then wash their hands and the hammer with a water bottle and begin to laugh. Only 2 suspects appear to be present in the video, with one always behind the camera. That doesn't make sense. Only 2 suspects appear to be in the video. That's weird. The Alexander guy wasn't there. I think that might just be a typo because I think there's, I don't know, maybe, I don't know. It doesn't matter. But there's 2 guys, Victor and Igor were there with Sergey, who they were killing. So that's who was in it, I guess. But it says
I get the idea of like kind of like a mob mentality, even though there's only 3 of them. But like,
okay,
it's crazy. I think there's 3 sick little bastards that would do this.
I'm glad you brought this up because I was wondering the exact same thing while I was writing this, and I said, how much of this is that like peer pressure, mob mentality, edgelord behavior? They were obviously outcasts. You could look at the same thing what happened in Columbine, where these 2 guys were like I think it was like a echo chamber of like hyping each other up, where it's like one of them maybe didn't even have this idea, but one of them's like, we should, and someone's like, okay, I'll go along with it, and then they just want to one up each other and be cool, and they're getting that constant validation from each other.
Yeah.
So they don't think it's bad or harmful.
It's a dangerous thing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, just with anything, even if you're not teenagers, like there's tons of people out there who are just like, whether you're like an asshole, and like if your friends are assholes, it's like that's normalized to you. You guys treat people like shit, and you don't think about it until you meet somebody who's not an asshole, and you're like, oh, like you act different than me. You know what I mean? So I think that these guys like have a blind spot for like the depravity of their crimes, or maybe they are fully aware, and they tried to plead insanity later, and they're like, no, like you guys are clearly they weren't insane, but there is something to be said about like peer pressure or mob mentality in these situations. That's not necessarily insanity, but it's not like free will. It's like it's very nuanced, and I don't think that we even understand it yet. I think we just go, you did the crime, so you have to do the time now, which is fair. I don't care if like somebody dared you to stab me. If you stab me, I want you to go to prison. So it's like, I don't fucking know.
It was a dare. That's fine.
It was a prank, bro?
Oh, fuck.
Okay. So the suspects, this is bad. So the suspects were also found in possession of multiple photographs showing them attending funerals of the victims. They can be seen smiling and flipping off the coffins and gravestones. So if that's not bad.
Yeah, it's a bit far.
It's literally the definition of adding insult to injury. Literally.
Yeah.
But just to tell you about this Sergey guy, because I don't want this all be about these fuckers, I'm going to tell you a little bit about him real quick in a paragraph. He was 48 years old. He had recently been forced into retirement due to a cancerous tumor in his throat. The treatment left him unable to speak for some time, but Sergey was unhappy with being unable to work and continued to find odd jobs around the village. He took on small construction work, repaired cars, wove baskets, and cooked for his family. He was beginning to regain his voice at the time he was murdered. Sergey was married and had 2 sons and 1 grandchild. He also looked after his disabled mother. So if these guys like aren't monsters
Just
enough
a
for
great guy.
Yeah, if these guys are, and you know what, I bet every single victim also had a backstory like that. It's like it's just so unfair. You know what I mean? It's like, God, I don't like what gives you the right to take my life? Like what? In all the universes and all of the possibilities, you'd never think that you would be the victim of a random killing. It's like, probably didn't upset anybody his entire life, and then all of a sudden these kids are like, that guy is right there. It's like, what?
Wrong place, wrong time.
I guess that's sometimes just the universe is just like fucked like that, you know? But anyway, I digress. So 2 days later, on July the 14th, 45-year-old Natalie, I'm not going to go over all the murders, but just I think...
Just give us a number towards the end, you know?
Yeah, this is the last one I think I covered, but Natalia Mamachuk was riding her scooter when she was knocked down by 2 men and battered to death. This attack was actually witnessed, and the 2 men were chased, but they managed to escape on Natalia's scooter. So this was like in public. This was not like, I know they killed Sergey like right off the road, but this was like in public, probably at night, but somebody saw them, chased them, and they took her scooter and left. But she was dead, which is just horrible. So the spree went on for 13 more murders. Like, what?
Jesus.
Yeah. So I said their total was, I think...
13 more.
Yeah, I think their grand total was 21. So almost all the victims...
21? Sorry, I can't help it. I know it's bad timing. I just can't help it.
What's 9 plus 10?
21?
We need a little levity in here. Come on. So almost all the victims were, as we get back to reality, almost all the victims being bludgeoned to death, many in the face and head, leaving the corpses virtually unidentifiable out of the rest of the 13 as well. So they had an MO, which was hammered to the face. Many were tortured before the killings as well, which is just another horrible aspect to it. So the fishing boy who escaped, it's either Vadim or Vladimir. I have it written 2 different ways. I forget which one it is. But Vadim, along with 2 other boys who witnessed a murder, apparently the other 2 boys were in a tent near where they like murdered somebody, like close to like the woods. So they also saw the killers. But all these 3 kids, they worked with the police to provide a sketch of the assailants and a list of stolen, and the police were able to figure out a list of stolen items that were taken from the crime scene based on, you know, to corroborate, like, oh, they had a phone, oh, we didn't find a phone, and they're like, okay, their phone's missing. So they sent that list to the local pawn shops to try to track these items if anybody came in with them, as over 2,000 investigators quietly worked on the case to find these killers. So this is another interesting thing. They didn't rob everybody. They only robbed a few people, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just like, oh, that phone looks expensive, or take that jewelry. I don't really know, but they didn't rob everybody. They robbed a ton of people when they were doing the taxi thing, but they didn't rob when they were doing the killings, which is very odd because
it wasn't about the money.
Apparently, but like they obviously didn't have any money either. They weren't working jobs, so I'm like, I don't get it. So like I said, the 2,000 investigators were quietly working because the investigation was kept a secret, even not informing locals of the danger to not spook the killer. I think like this is always like a point in like detective movies where like, do we tell the public? Because then the killer might get cold feet and leave, and we want to try to, but they didn't tell anybody about this, which is fucking wild. I don't know how many murders are on the police's hands, but like at the end of the day, I guess like they caught them, so do the ends justify the means? I don't know. So, but rumors began to spread throughout the town regardless of if the police told anybody, because 21 people were murdered in the town and the surrounding area. So rumors began to spread, keeping people inside at night for the time being. So most of the victims, and like I said, I think they only attacked at night for the most part. Actually, not only, because that 3 Guys, 1 Hammer video takes place during the day, but I think they chose either isolated areas during the day or nighttime to attack. So most of the victims, like I said, were not robbed, but a few had their phones and jewelry stolen. And like I mentioned earlier, were being tracked by pawn shops in the area because they had a list of the items. As Victor and Igor took one of the stolen phones to a pawn shop to sell, the buyer turned it on to see if it worked. Right when the phone came on, the police were notified and quickly showed up, arresting both men while they stood at the register finalizing their sale. So they're there fucking quick.
Yeah.
Alexander Hanza, who was the third friend who left the friend group basically after the robberies, he only took part in the robberies. He left. He was not a part of the killings, but he was also arrested because he was in possession of some of the stolen goods from the robberies as he tried to flush the phones and jewelry down the toilet before police arrived. David, you have something in common with him.
Don't say my spaghetti sauce is the same as, people's stolen goods.
Have we talked about this on pod?
No, maybe.
David had a bad spaghetti sauce one day.
There was one afternoon I thought I could make spaghetti sauce from scratch without looking up any recipe, and it did not work. I was FaceTiming Tobin during this, and I religiously, when certain foods like a sauce or a soup goes bad, I'll flush it.
Wait, can you say that again for our listeners?
Yeah, if I got
be more specific. You flush it where?
The one thing that flushes, toilet. I'm not gonna put I'm not gonna dump in the garbage can and have that sauce leaking everywhere and shit. I'm just gonna flush it.
And do you have a garbage disposal?
No.
Okay.
No garbage disposal, and this was also at my previous residence. But yeah, so I was FaceTiming with Tobin. I think we were recording.
We were getting ready
night
to record. Yes.
Yeah, and I was urgently.
You told me you told me you had an emergency on your hands and you needed to postpone just a little bit. And I asked, what's going on? Is everything okay?
Yeah, and so I tried to flush the spaghetti sauce, and somehow a whole tomato escaped the immersion blender. So and I flushed it. The tomato just went right into that toilet hole.
He clogged
it up,
with the
clogged
tomato.
it real good, and then it started to overflow. And there's, tomato sauce and spices. They were quickly coming towards me as I fought them off with a plunger. As Tobin watched via FaceTime,
it was good.
It went down.
It eventually did.
What's crazy is like a few weeks after that, I was at work and the radio was on, and there was a radio ad about not flushing food.
Why?
Apparently it's bad for the sewage. I don't know. I flush it anyways.
Poops food.
Big flusher.
I just love the idea of somebody walking into like a public restroom and finding a whole tomato lodged in the hole of the toilet. Like, what the fuck did this guy eat? I heard about corn, but this is ridiculous.
It had gotten clipped a few times. Like, it wasn't like a perfect tomato, but it was
big enough.
Big enough to really set me back a few minutes.
Were they peeled?
No.
You know how like you buy like peeled tomatoes sometimes, like in a can?
No, this was not a canned tomato. This was just a tomato I plopped out of that bowl on the counter,
Did you roast them and take the skin off before you made the sauce?
I had
boil
no time.
Boil them?
No. I was just going to throw a bunch of tomato shit and blend it.
Oh, my God. David.
Mistakes were made.
Oh, my God.
I've never done it before that. I've never done it after that.
Ragu is a little bit more
because of that, I always keep
David
like
speed.
I always keep like 2 jars of tomato sauce in the pantry now.
You're making like fucking ketchup.
Pretty much. I mean, I always cook dinner, and I was just trying to make sure that my wife had dinner that she could eat when she got home from work, because I get off earlier than her.
She came in. I said, "Start bobbing, babe. There's down there at the toilet." Sorry.
Yeah, it was bad.
Anyway, okay, that was my little side story for all you toilet flushers out there.
Yeah, flush it.
So on the 11th of February 2009, both Victor and Igor were found guilty of premeditated murder and were sentenced to life imprisonment. Alexander, the third friend who was flushing all the phones and jewelry, who was not part of the murders, was sentenced to 9 years for his part in the robberies, and made his feeling towards the two killers clear by saying, "If I had known the atrocities that they were capable of committing," he said, I would not have gone near them at gunpoint.
Damn, is 9 years, is that valid, do you think? I feel like that's a little harsh.
Well, it's kind of interesting. So Ukraine in 2000...
I guess.
Well, in Ukraine, they got rid of the death penalty. They thought it was inhumane.
Okay.
But I think it was just his association with the killers and like his involvement in like their initial crimes. Like, to be completely honest, I do think it's way too harsh for robbery to get 9 years, but I think that they were like, you were involved in creating these monsters, and his friends made him look significantly worse. I don't agree with that he was involved in it.
That's a hard one.
No,
I feel like it could
agree.
go either way, though. It could go either way, because then you look at these guys, they were associated, and then they stopped, and then the other guys went off and started killing damn near 30 people, and then the other guy dipped out because he didn't like the way things were going, but did previously steal stuff. I feel like if I was on the jury looking at it, I'd be like, oh, I'm not worried about the guy who stole stuff.
I agree.
When we've got murderers.
But his friends made him look really bad. You know, like, I think that's what ended up happening is they're just like, he got bunched in with them. You know, he was in the press, so they're like, oh my God, like these guys committed the most horrific things. Like, he'd probably get like 2 years or a year for robbery, but like they're like 9 because we don't really know how much you knew about this, and I don't know. They can only prove so much, but I feel like they just went harsh with it. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So in the end, it is unclear on why these murders occurred in the first place. Some stating that the boys did it to sell snuff films on the dark web. They never released them, like I said, but they had like 40 tapes of like robberies and murder and stuff, and they're like, oh,
intent to sell.
Yeah, they're like, I think it's mainly just because like they had a camera and they're like, film this. Like, I filmed the dumbest shit. I was like, film this. I would just do nothing. I'd flush a tomato down the toilet. Film this, you know? Yeah. That'd give me a lot of money on the dark web.
Hey, you know what? That might get you some views on TikTok.
Do you think gyrating guy is gonna switch to tomato clogged toilet fetish?
No, he's not brave enough.
They're like, you're
not bold enough.
They're like, now you're going to prison. You fucked up the entire plumbing system of Somerset. It's just full of tomatoes. Anyway, but they thought that maybe they're making snuff films on the dark web. That was never proven, of course. But Deputy Interior Minister Nikolai Kupiansky commented on the motivation of the murders, saying, "For these young men, murder was like entertainment or hunting," which I fully agree with. I think that they were so stupid.
They were getting off to it.
Yeah. I mean, whether it be, I don't think it was sexual in nature, because none of the bodies
That's not what I meant, but I know that's typically a sexual term, but that's not what I meant. But they're getting a high from it.
Exactly. A power high, or like we're doing something we're not supposed to be doing high, but like, it's pretty crazy. Oh, they also, in a lot of their videos, they were doing Nazi salutes. They were
love that.
They were
Good
doing
stuff.
Like
fucking idiots.
Hitler mustaches with like toothbrushes. So like there was a sense of like
it's on brand.
Hatred. I don't really get it. Like, I'm gonna go on the record. I don't like this Hitler guy. Okay.
Yeah.
You can cancel me all you want. Cancel me.
we had an issue in lovely Eugene, Oregon here where some guy that lived on the outskirts of town just had a big old swastika flag on his house. It's just like, why?
It's just like it just seems like a generic symbol for hate. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Or it's just like, because like what they were doing was not anything historically connected with like Nazi ideology. They're just like, oh, who's a bad guy that killed a lot of people? Oh,
Yeah.
Nazis, Hitler. Okay, yeah, let's just do that. And you're just like, okay, like what the fuck? But yeah, that's basically, and they're still in prison to this day. In 2019, Alexander actually got out, and now he has like a wife and 2 kids. But he just robbed, so I don't think that's weird. I mean, it's not great to rob anybody and take their shit, but like compared to these guys, he looks like a saint. So
Yeah.
that's an interesting point to what we come back to, where it's like, what's the chances that there were 2 little shitbag evil pieces of shit who wanted to murder, and you're like, well, there was a third one in there who had enough of a conscience to be like, you know what, I don't really like the direction you like. I don't think he knew about the murders, but he felt like the vibe change, and he's like, yeah, I don't think I'm like
to get a little dark.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, so you can't really blame peer pressure to a certain extent. Like you could be like, oh, I was pressured, but it's like, okay, well you
still made the
murdered
decision.
21 people, like.
Yeah.
I don't know. Not like you stabbed somebody and ran away and started crying. You'd probably get like a couple years for that, but Jesus. So that's the story of the maniacs from Three Guys, One Hammer. So that's
There
it.
you go. Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Little shit stains.
Fuckers.
All right, Tobin.
Little tomato toileters. Fuck them.
I think with Thanksgiving on the way, I should do a little Thanksgiving story.
Ooh.
So everyone has their favorite Thanksgiving meal, but there's
Item?
one meal,
Item or meal?
Same thing.
Like a year-to-year thing? Like your favorite Thanksgiving meal is like, wow, I love 2009. Or are you talking about like your favorite item in the meal?
Item in the meal.
Okay.
But there is one meal everyone fears.
Can I say it? Can I guess?
Yeah.
Green bean casserole.
No.
Raisins in the stuffing.
No.
The giblets.
No.
Some type of Jello dessert.
That would be none other than the jellied cranberry sauce.
Oh.
Why are the cans upside down? How does it come out in that perfect yet sexy tube of dark red gel?
Wait.
How does it hold that perfect shape while being on the verge of solid and liquid at the same time? Well, according to Ocean Spray, the oddly sexual named Kings of the Cran claim that 83% of Americans believe that Thanksgiving isn't Thanksgiving without cranberry sauce.
Okay, so my question is, what do you mean, why do they come upside down?
The cans are upside down.
What are you talking about?
So you know how you have cans that have the little tab that you can like peel it open? You don't need a can opener?
Yeah.
The cranberry sauce.
The label is facing where up and the pull tab is on the bottom?
Yeah.
Oh, is it because when you open it, you place it on a plate and then you slowly
We're getting to it.
Okay. Oh, is that a fucking spoiler? How you open how people put cranberry on a plate, asshole?
You're ruining it.
Fuck you. This is a podcast discussion, dickhead.
All right. Well, 28% consider it to be a red flag if someone they're dating doesn't prefer the same type of cran, bam, jam log as they do. And only 13% of Americans like to eat that log straight from the can.
Okay, so I have another question. I'm not going to fucking ruin anything. I just want to know your take on cranberry sauce. Or is that going to ruin it? Should we take a step back?
I don't know. I've never really eaten it.
What?
I don't know.
For the longest time, I wasn't like a huge fan, and
I'm afraid of it.
Why?
Well, it comes out and you can still see the lines on the can.
I kind of like that. I like the metallic.
It shakes me cold to the bone.
I prefer the cranberry where like you take the cranberries and you like boil them and the people put sugar in them and then they like macerate them and shit like that.
Yeah.
That's the better version for sure.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like how people like Diet Coke over like regular cane sugar Coke, and I feel like those are the people that like canned cranberry. Where like they know it's artificial, they know
Just
it.
call them trashy. Just call them trashy.
No, but here's the thing. I've eaten.
Just say it.
I've eaten.
Don't be coward. Just say it.
No, but like I can't because the one day the paparazzi will catch me eating out of my fucking can of cranberry. But I feel like the hobo from Dennis the Menace fucking eating my can of cranberry. But I'm just saying that like there is something to be said about the canned cranberry that's like it's like I always say this. It's like a Hostess donut where they don't taste good. Like an Entenmann's donuts, they don't taste good, but they taste familiar. Because if you eat too many of the chocolate ones, you get that waxy feel on the inside of your mouth.
Oh yeah, you're coated.
And it's
like
like
a candle.
Yeah, and it's exactly, and it's or like an apple. But you're not. You know that they have wax on the outside of the apple. Anyway, but it's not bad. It's just like different or familiar or like it is a little wrong. But like it's like a McDonald's French fry. They don't fucking mold, but like they taste so good. Anyway, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So now, if you're wondering how I was going to craft this whole crayon talk into my story, you were onto something because this is not my topic.
What the fuck, man? I was really into this. No wonder you didn't give a fuck about my question.
Okay, to answer your question though, I didn't put it in the story, but I did read the answer to your question on why they put it in upside down.
Oh, okay.
Because it forms an air bubble at the top.
Oh.
So then when you turn it over, the air bubble helps keep it like loose in there. So when you open it, it slides on out.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. You learned something new.
Yeah. But I do have a different Thanksgiving story. And this is the story of James Michael Grimes.
He sounds like a killer because he has 3 names.
Well, he's not.
Oh.
So I will start this off with the fact that this story took place Thanksgiving 2022.
Stop saying
so last year.
Stop saying Thanksgiving.
I'm not going to.
Somebody's going to be like, am I having a stroke? Thanksgiving.
So yeah, this
library.
happened.
Where did you learn that word? At the library?
So this took place last year on Thanksgiving, and I'm gonna be honest. I would be very surprised if this story didn't make it into our strange news stories.
Oh.
But here's the whole shebang. So James Michael Grimes, 28 years old at the time, had boarded a Carnival cruise ship to spend his Thanksgiving with 18 other family members out at sea.
Too many family members.
And, yeah, it's too many. So the ship left from Nolens, and within the first 24 hours at sea, something bad happened. But we are still unclear of how or what really happened. Now, Tobin, have you ever been on a cruise liner?
I've been on a cruise liner as a child and as an adult, but I usually only do like a 3-day trip to like Mexico from like like LA to Mexico. That's like the most I've been on a cruise is LA to Mexico.
Was it?
It's all right. I mean, I'm not like a huge cruise fan, but I think that there's some fun to be had. Like they got a little casino and like a little bar, a little dance. Like it's fun, but it's like that can't be your one vacation for the year. It has to be like a let's fuck it. Who cares? Let's just go like on a cruise, you know? That's fun.
I've never done it.
Should I do it for my bachelor party? Should we just get cruised up, dude?
That'd be sick.
That would be kind of cool.
I'm going to dress up as One Piece characters the whole time.
I'm going to dress up like the captain and tell everybody that the ship is going down. And they're like, what do you mean? We didn't hit anything. I'm like, it's the internal plumbing. It's fucking clogged with tomatoes. We need to get off this. It's going to blow.
The suspension's really good. You didn't feel the collision. So yeah, I haven't been on one, but from my interpretation, the ship usually has lots of fun activities for the guests to partake in. But from the list, like pools, concerts, gambling, magic
Yeah.
shows, and everything, all that. It kind of seems like everything sounds a whole hell of a lot more fun with a drink in hand.
Yeah.
Like everything.
Oh my God, did this guy fall over the edge and hit the propeller on the way down?
No. Well, half of that part. So by the next morning, not even 24 hours into the trip, James's family grew worried as they could not find him. The last time James was seen was when he was with his sister. When James not only competed, but also won an air guitar contest.
Yo, okay.
Put on by the cruise liner.
Oh yeah.
The prize?
Free
A free
drink.
drink.
Oh wait, one free drink?
I believe it was one free drink. But the price, potential death.
That's not the last time first or last time air guitar will take a life, I'm just saying.
Yeah. I would like to note that no sober man or woman or dog has ever won a cruise air guitar competition ever. So winning the air guitar contest and enjoying his free drink, James had to leak the lizard and started to head to the bathroom. Then, boom. James woke up floating in the middle of the ocean in the dead of night with no sign of life, for now.
What?
He, having no recollection of how he ended up in the water or how he managed to survive floating in the water unconscious, James started to tread water staying afloat.
He should have stayed passed out.
Yeah, probably.
Use less energy.
So James thanked God, but not how the normal people do it. James said he actually talked to God and then decided to write some songs and started singing them while swimming.
What is going... Okay. He was still drunk, right?
So he claims he was not drunk.
Man, imagine the hangover in the middle of the ocean. Oh.
I think it's a whole thing to like, say like, oh no, I wasn't drunk. Like, I don't know what happened. He stays to that defense that he was not drunk, but I think that's just to like
to not look like such a what?
He doesn't want to admit that he was drunk. I think, and like just in case there is a chance that like, he could hold the cruise liner responsible.
Yeah,
and it'd be like, oh well, you were drunk, so that doesn't count. So like.
And also, like, it looks less like I don't know the word I'm looking for, but I'm just gonna say schlubby or like lush, like, you know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, you're a drunk or something. People are a little less sympathetic to a drunk. Yeah.
So, unfortunately for James, this body of water is well known for being a feeding ground for sharks. Suddenly, James had a visitor and had this to say. I thought it was a shark. I mean, I was swimming in one direction and I looked around and I seen it out the corner of my eye. It came up on me real quick and I went under and I could barely see it. And it wasn't a shark. I don't believe. But it had more of a flat mouth and it came up and bumped one of my legs, so I kicked it with the other leg. It scared me, not knowing what it was, or at the time how big it was. All I could see was its fin. So later on, James would call this thing a creature, refusing to believe that it was a shark or any other known sea creature. So, yeah, he thinks some mythical, unknown sea monster came after him. Eventually, kick after kick made the creature flee, and James continued to swim and tread water looking for saving. Now, quick note, it has been tested and proven the average human can only consecutively tread water for, you know how long?
12 hours?
2.5.
What?
It's 2 to 3 hours, so I just said 2.5. But
oh my God.
Yeah.
But
so
if you float on your back, is that treading water? That's
No.
not, but
No, but also that takes energy to do. But so yeah, so basically 2.5 hours until they would succumb to exhaustion. So with all this swimming and treading, how did James retain energy to just keep going? You want to take a swing? What was he doing to retain energy?
was he? Fuck. I literally can't think of anything that he would be doing.
What?
Eating shit in his pockets. Did he have anything in his pocket?
Well, he would eat any ocean debris he could find with his favorite meal being sticks.
Wait, you're joking.
No.
Wait, are you serious?
He had to say, a stick came floating by, looked like bamboo, so I started eating on it. And it actually, I mean, I'm not going to say it tasted good, but it gave me some flavor in my mouth other than salt water.
No fucking way. Where are they again? What part of the ocean?
They left from New Orleans, and I forget where they're going.
Probably to the Bahamas or something like that.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
So with all the cards stacked against Grimes, he had to keep reminding himself that the little things. So like he said, the fall didn't kill me, sea creatures didn't eat me. I felt like I was meant to get out of here. And after 20 long hours,
Oh my god.
the average person can only go for. So after 20 long hours at sea, the Coast Guard found him. And remember, like I said, the average human can only withstand 2.5 hours of this. He did it for 20 hours. So the Coast Guard rescued Grimes on Thanksgiving night. And the responders noted that Grimes was minutes from certain death. Grimes, who was excited to see his rescuers, shouted to them that he was completely naked, having to strip down to tread water more efficiently.
Yeah, that's true, huh?
Which the captain of the Coast Guard responded, "Son, is that a stick of bamboo, or are you just happy to see us?"
He did not yell that.
No, he didn't. He didn't say that. I wrote that. When Grimes was asked if he would ever go on a cruise liner again, Grimes said, "Yeah, I will. I ain't gonna let it discourage me that much. I might not get within 10 foot of the rails, but I'll definitely be open to going on another cruise because I really didn't get to go on this one."
That's true, actually.
So, a quick recap. James got on a cruise liner with his family for Thanksgiving, claiming that he was not drunk, won a air guitar contest, blacked out, and woke up in the ocean, spending the next 20 hours swimming, talking to God, writing music, fighting unidentified sea creatures, eating bamboo while completely naked. So this truly sums up the miracle that is Thanksgiving. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're spending your holiday this year eating the cranberry log or a bamboo log, as long as you do it naked.
It's true. Wow, that's
Yeah.
a very wholesome ending to that story.
There you go.
That's actually pretty wild. I mean, just like,
Yeah.
I don't know how they found him.
Yeah. Insane.
Like, you drift. Well, 20 hours, so it was probably daylight at that point.
Yeah.
So he's probably easier to spot, but still.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Wouldn't that suck treading water for 20 hours, then it's in the middle of the night and you get ran over by the fucking Coast Guard? Just a miracle defeat of surviving just to get ran over.
Oh, I was under the assumption that they probably had a helicopter. I didn't even think about a boat. You're right, probably.
No, yeah, I guess they could have had it. It didn't specify if it was a boat or a helicopter.
They probably had everything out there.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Helicopter would probably make more sense.
My question is, how long did it take him to realize that? Like, when do we go to the captain and be like, "Yo, he's not on board," or like, "Can you make an announcement?" And then they made an announcement.
Yeah.
They're like, "He's still not here," and you're like, when did that gut wrenching realization set in? They're like, oh, he fell overboard probably, and being like,
They probably give it like an hour to like look for him, like all staff look, and then
Yeah.
after that it's like Coast Guard, because it's not insane that someone would fall overboard.
it's true. It's true. It's kind of
Yeah.
crazy how little safety. They have a net now, I think.
This happened last year though.
Oh, you're right. Actually, maybe certain cruise liners have nets and certain ones don't. But I remember like,
Or he just fucking trampolined off the net.
yeah, he might have just fucking crawled off the net. Like, who knows? He might have landed in the net and be like, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna crawl over to the edge. Imagine hitting the water drunk as hell. If that didn't, that probably knocked him out.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
At least he had that trusty bamboo to munch on.
Talk about the luckiest motherfucker ever.
Yeah.
They had that one kid that jumped off the party boat, and they weren't even like that far from shore, but there was like they just never found him, and I was like,
Yeah, I got eaten for sure.
oh my God. That's the scariest thing ever. Oh my God. Well, I'm glad that guy able to bite on a stick and made it. So congrats to him. Hell yeah. He's going to be thankful every Thanksgiving. But
Thanksgiving.
we're thankful that this episode is over because we're tired. So we want to say thank you so much, and we're thankful to you. Because thank you so much for tuning in. We love telling these stories, and we love when you stick around and listen. If you guys want to rate, review, subscribe, and share it with a friend, do that. Do it. Please do it. And if you guys want any merch, go to Camp Strange Podcast on Instagram. Click the link in bio and buy some merch if you like. If you
Rate, review, subscribe.
I already said that.
Hit that like button.
Yeah. Play this on a loudspeaker at Grandpa's funeral. Do it. Everybody will be like, what the fuck? Gyrating guy in a black leather mask. That's what Grandpa loved. Keep playing it. But anyway, I think that's basically it. Tune in next 2 weeks, and we'll talk more about the stuff and the weird and the shit. David, do you have anything to say before we get the frick out of here?
Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah. Happy Thanksgiving.
Don't drink and drive.
That's a pretty good ending.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
It's not worth it. Don't do it.
It's not. Uber's like,
I will be forever disappointed in you if you do.
Yep, you're no friend of ours unless you
No.
put a tomato hole in the hole. Tomato in the hole and don't drink and drive.
The second you start talking about drinking and driving, just shove a tomato in that mouth.
Yeah.
Like, shut up. Get an Uber. Ask a friend, a sober friend or family member to give you a ride.
Mm-hmm.
There are better alternatives.
Amen. Anyway, thanks, guys, and don't forget to stay strange.